It is.
Okay, Tammy Lankford for the first time, so we welcome you here.
Thank you very much.
Hope you're enjoying it.
I'm loving it. I love
Good,
being here.
good.
North Carolina is quite a place.
How many times have you been, Tammy?
This is my second time. I was here 6 years ago, and then prior to that, I think it was like 4 years for Asheville.
Right, okay. Okay, so anyway, we'll get started. I'm going to start with the question that everybody asks.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, well,
They're going to ask you.
all right. Give me,
I don't know about that. Yeah.
how did you get started? What led you to acting? Is it something you had dreamed of? It started off, or did you just kind of drift into it like some did?
No, I don't think I really drifted into it. But my grandmother was a Ziegfeld Follies girl, and my mom, who's here with me today, along with my husband. Give her applause. Was in theater. And so I just sort of followed, I guess, in my mom and my grandma's footsteps. I must say I was never really an academic. So in school, drama class came very, and I wouldn't say easy, but natural for me. Dancing classes, singing classes, all that stuff, I just really excelled. In fact, I think if our high school hadn't had a drama department or a modern dance department, I probably wouldn't have graduated because it was pretty tough sometimes. So that's how I started getting into it. I excelled there. I loved that freedom of expression. And then I started taking acting classes and working more with, I did a on-camera class with Mel Blanc. I don't know if you all remember him.
Yes, not funny.
But yeah, voice to so many, Yosemite Sam, a lot of cartoon voices he did. And that was an on-camera class, so when you took that course, you met agents. Agents came in and were there, and upon the graduation of the class, you saw who responded or who resonated with you, and these agents had put down that they really liked me, so I called them, of course, and started working, doing a lot of commercials as I started, and bought my first home with commercials, and did really well in that area, and then I was getting more and more comfortable in front of the camera, and with scripts and that, and then I did another, I was with Lee Strasberg, and met my agents, my theatrical agents there.
Did you do a lot of stage work?
I love the stage, and I did a lot. The fortunate or unfortunate part with theater is you can't really make a living with it. It's very difficult. So I started excelling more in television. So I just sort of went to where you go where they like you, I guess. So I started doing more and more television. But I love theater because you can build a character a lot differently than you can on television. Tammy knows it's luxury to have a series because you can continue building on that character. When you just do a movie, you're boxed in, and that's 6 months or however long the shoot is for that movie. But in a series, if you're lucky enough to have them go on, you can continue building with that character.
You just keep shooting through season.
Right, and develop it.
Depending upon how long it's picked up.
And that's true with theater. Say if you're doing the theater, say one show for a year, wow, that's great because you can build that character time and time and time again and learn things from the show that you did before. Or if you were doing 2 shows a day from that show to the evening show. So I would say I love all walks of that medium.
All right, Tammy, I know that you started so young. I mean,
I did.
You must have been, it must have been was it your mother, family, or friends? How did you get started so young?
Certainly.
My sister Cheryl
was already in the movie business. She did I Saw What You Did with Joe Crawford and John Ireland. She also did Father Goose with Cary Grant, Leslie Caron. She did Bonanza. She did quite a few things. And so she was already going out on a lot of auditions. We had a live-in nanny, and her name was Minnie. Minnie always took care of me because I was so small. I was only 18 months old. And Cheryl got a casting call for the daughter, to play the daughter of Robert Redford and Diana Hyland. Minnie wasn't available to take care of me that day, so my mother actually had to bring me along with her to the casting call. So what happened was the director asked his secretary to please watch me. And she says, no problem, I'll take care of her, don't worry. This is an 18-month-old child, so you know how they're all over the place, right? Well, so Cheryl and my mother went into the room adjacent to that room. And the secretary decided to get up and go for a cup of coffee and leave an 18-month-old by herself. Because I was sitting there on the couch just playing away, so she thought it was going to be okay for just a few seconds it was going to take. Yeah, that didn't happen. So she left, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So I got up, because I knew where my mother was, and I knew where my sister was. So I opened up the door, and there was quite a few people in there, a couple of directors and quite a few producers and things like that. When I opened the door, I apparently threw it so hard that I hit one of them. So they were all looking around, and I walked on in, and I looked at my mother, and I said, Mommy, potty, Mommy, potty. And then the directors and the producers started looking at each other, and all of a sudden you see them shaking their head, and all of a sudden they go, Mrs. Locke, we want her, not her. But in all actuality, my sister was 5 years my senior. So 18 months, you're not quite, you're not quite 2 years. So she was approaching,
Old age.
Old age. They wanted a little girl, so they were actually asking my sister to be 3 years younger. And my sister was already in her head a big girl. So she was actually quite happy that she didn't get that call, because they actually rewrote it for an almost 2-year-old child. And what happened is one time on set, I'll never forget, my grandmother always, you have your grandmother always around telling you about the things that happen. She got me all dressed up one day. It was her job this one time to take me to set to film with Robert Redford and Diana Hyland in this pool that they had on set. And so my grandmother got me all dressed up in this frilly dress, and she curled my hair, nice, gorgeous, tight curls and everything. And she brought her down, and all of a sudden the director walks up, takes my hand and says, "Makeup, come take this kid and get her fixed up for the shots." I know. So what happened was my grandmother was just fit to me. She's like, oh, I took all morning to do all that, and they're all going to mess it up. So they actually wet my hair down and restyled it and everything and put it up on kind of like on a bun, basically. And they put me into this pool, but what they didn't know is somebody had put props in the pool. They put a shovel and a bucket. And so they got ready to shoot, and the director says, and, what was that? Action. Action, thank you. Honey, I'm over 40, it's every leaves out here. So they said, and action, they were filming, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of the film, I took the bucket and I went, everything that they had just did was all ruined, and the director's going, who put that bucket in that pool? Get that child out and go get her dried off and put her in a new set of clothes. So that was my first acting job.
So she
I
was
a
a
daughter.
singing stealer.
Yeah, because they actually, I forgot to tell you about the first, when they put me in the pool, there was no water in it. So I actually I said, I'm not getting in that pool because there ain't no water in that there pool. So the director got mad, then he asked the staff to go out and get a hose So they brought the hose all the way through and they started filling it, and that's when they set me inside the pool with the props and things. So that's how it would. I mean, what child gets to have your first scene with Robert Redford as a little girl and Diana Hyland? And if you remember Diana Hyland, that was John Travolta's first love when he was filming Boy in the Bubble.
She died very young.
Yeah, she died in his arms. Yeah, at the bottom of the staircase. Yeah. So that's how it happened in the movies. And from there, it just kind of spiraled on, I guess you could say. I did Meet Me in St. Louis, based off of the famous movie with Judy Garland. And I did the TV pilot. So if you walk in Walmart and you pick up the 2-disc series of that famous movie, Meet Me in St. Louis, with Judy Garland and Margaret O'Brien, I'm the second DVD. So that's pretty cool. I can go into Walmart and buy it.
Did you play the Judy Garland part or the?
I was Margaret O'Brien. I was actually Tootie. And I had a very big part in that particular show. I have a website called TammyLocke.com, and I've got some excerpts of the things that I was in. I was also in Hingham High. Unfortunately, I don't have any excerpts of that. So I was with Clint Eastwood on that one, and then, of course, I starred in the TV series The Monroes.
Other than your series part, what was your favorite role that you had? Kim?
Well, I love, I guess why I'm here, all the westerns that I did. And my favorite was a show called California. And that was a spin-off of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. And it was great because I played Rose, I'm trying to remember Rose's last name, who ran the saloon in the town that we did on Melody Ranch. And I was like the Miss Kitty of the town. And of course, you know, I really resonated with that part. I loved that. And I would have, you know, I probably would have stayed there all my life if they let me. And it was so fun because, you know, you'd wrap like late at night, you know, 9 or 10 after being there all day. And you'd walk the whole day, because it was at Melody Ranch. So that was Gene Autry's place. And it's all like a real Western town. And I'm in Barbara Stanwyck's wardrobe.
Oh my God.
And walking down, and there's stagecoaches there, and there's a horse tied up here. And I remember we were walking down the street, and I was just thinking, yes, I could stay here forever. Just that kind of spot. And Guns of Paradise was that way too. That was with Lee Horsley was in that. I really like Westerns, so I would say they're my favorite things.
How about you, Tammy?
Which was my favorite role?
Other than your series.
What was my favorite role? My favorite role will remain the same. My favorite role was Once a Week with Anne Margaret, because to today, she's still my mom.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
I go and I see her, and she's just the most wonderful lady in the entire world. Yes. She was wonderful to me. She gave me this beautiful little, does anybody know Anne Margaret? Is she Dutch? Is it Dutch or what is it? Copenhagen?
She's Swedish.
Swedish, thank you. Anyway, she gave me this gorgeous little orange Swedish horse that was all painted, and when I was a little girl. And when I was about 12, I lived on a cul-de-sac, and the next door neighbors, Mr. Chesmore, had a big pool. One of the kids ended up in the pool, and I ended up saving her life. I jumped in, and I gave her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when I got her out of the pool. And the only thing that calmed her down was knowing that I had that little tiny horse, and I gave it to her. Because she was more important, not me. So I gave it to her. Saved her life and made her happy. And I'm sure she's got that little horse too today.
All right, go ahead with that, Tammy, on that. Who's your favorite actor to work with that have been,
Oh my
And
gosh, I've
Margaret?
got so many. Buck, I loved Buck. James Brolin. Yeah. I grew up with Ronnie Howard and Clint. They were on my TV series. I was boyfriend and girlfriend with Clint Howard. I mean, there's just so many. Michael Anderson Jr. still calls me his sister to today. And he lives in Vancouver, Canada, so he's always saying, you know, Amy, you know, hi Amy, and brother, you know, love Brother Clay, you know. And Barbara Hershey, I just saw her. I saw her for the very first time 2 months ago. And I guess it was April in Schiller in Parsippany, New Jersey. So that was the first time in basically 50 years. I'm aging myself, but that's okay. Proud of it, and I own it. But it was funny because my husband was actually filming it, and her staff or her management shut him down after a few minutes. But we actually were able to film the first meet and greet of myself and Barbara in 50 years. And I was so fun because I'm standing there waiting in line just like everybody else. I finally got up to the front of the line, and she goes, "Hi, Tammy Locke!" And I went, "Oh my God, who told you? Who told you?" She goes, "Well, I know you." She goes, "I see you everywhere on internet." So that was, and then I went over and I gave her a big hug and kiss, and she told me she loved me and she missed me, and what am I doing now, and how am I doing? And I introduced her to my husband, and it was just the most wonderful, empowering moment to see your sister that you loved for the time that you were filming the entire series. I mean, it filmed for I don't know, a year and a half, I guess it was, because I went through 2 seasons up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Matter of fact, that's the Monroes, I'm told, by one of the people that actually worked on the set, put a lot of the townspeople to work. So Jackson became a big somebody because of the Monroes. So that's a proud thing to be part of. And so I'm very proud of that. But as far as, you know, who, I don't just single out one person because I love everybody.
How about you, Kim?
Well, I say the same thing. It's a funny environment, acting and the way that we work. You're so close to the people you're with for intense periods of time. And even if it's someone that you're playing that you don't like, you love them.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
build great relationships. I would say some of the most influential people, I love James Brolin as well. Julie Harris was probably my favorite. George Segal, he was another favorite. But Julie Harris was, you know, on Knots Landing, and you were working with her for 12, 15 hours a day for however many years that our family. Yeah, and I carried on a relationship with Julie until she died as well. Not so much with some others, but James Brolin, George Segal and I, for a while. I'm since moved out of Hollywood or town Santa Monica and live in Colorado, so a lot of people I don't see as regularly as I would have. George and I used to get together in a place, and he'd play his banjo and I'd sing. He was very influential. We were doing a series together in Canada called Murphy's Law. And in the series I smoked. And I'm not a smoker. But I was his ex-wife and, you know, chain smoking. And so they had a smoker, or a smoking wrangler for me who would get the cigarette down to where it was in the previous shot. And then I'd have my cigarette. But you have to take those who don't smoke, when you first take a puff off a cigarette, it makes you very dizzy. You know, when your head is spinning and my tongue would get all fat and tingly. So I'd have to have, you know, I'd always say, you know, warn me like 5 or 10 minutes before we go, so I can have a couple of puffs so I can get ready for it. And so I'd get a couple of puffs, and then the guy would have my cigarette down where it was supposed to be, and that I'd be smoking. I said, you know, we've got to write an episode where Marissa quits smoking, because this is crazy. I'm killing myself here. And George would say, oh, Kim, just throw in a little Bette Davis, will you? Okay, George, if you say so. The lighter wouldn't work, but that was all the fun of it, was that the lighter wouldn't work. And it is great business to smoke. It is great stage business to smoke. So, you know, there are a lot of people who are in. Sam Peckinpah was very influential. I did a movie with him called Convoy. And subsequently, his grandson or nephew, David Peckinpah, David has since passed away, David and his wife, Sandy Peckinpah, we all became very good friends. But Sam Peckinpah was great to work with and made you really, really think. And I think that I became a better actor and probably a better person working with him, because he was pretty tough. And Chris Christopherson was in that movie as well.
Oh my God.
They're all very interesting people. And in fact, Chris Christopherson's band gave me my guitar, my first guitar. We were stuck in New Mexico for a long time working on this film. And there were a lot of times, there's a lot of downtime when you're doing a movie as well. And so at night I'd go and hang with Chris and his band to sing.
Oh my God, you're doing my dreams.
It was so you would love it.
I dreamed. I would have fell on the floor when he gave me that.
But I did. I couldn't believe it. But I didn't come by it easy.
Oh my God.
I didn't have to sleep with them.
Thank God. It was Cassie Couch for you.
I probably would have, but no.
Well, I can step forward. I definitely would have.
But they said, I said, oh, this is how I got with country music.
Oh,
He said, well, do you know San Antonio Rose? And I said, no, but I'll learn it, you know. So I came back, and maybe a few nights later, you know, I came back and I said, okay, I know San Antonio Rose. And they started playing Patsy Cline's San Antonio Rose. But, yeah. Okay, but I said, no, that's not the one I learned. I learned Guy Clark and Susanna Clark, and that was it. We were all best friends from then. Guy Clark, he's just passed away recently, but he is a great songwriter and wrote so many songs with Rodney Crowell. And, you know, but when I started doing San Antonio Rose, they just went, whoa. Here, we want you to have this guitar. That's how I got my 1946
Did he
Gibson.
sign it?
No. But it's got a lot of dents in it, and there's a big scratches on the back. And I didn't know any better to ask anybody to sign it. But on the back of the guitar is really a lot of scratches from his belt buckle.
Oh, yeah, but you can't. I mean, oh my God.
I know.
That is so cool.
I know. It doesn't matter who else really knows it. I know. So many people have been influential to me.
Oh, you got it. Great life. Love it.
We have a great life, sister.
We do. Now we're friends.
Okay, you've talked about your favorite. Who was your least favorite, or the most difficult to work with? I don't, you know, well, you can throw the dirt if you want to, but I'm not thinking so much other than just hard to work with. Who was your least favorite actor or actress to work with?
Don't look at me. I loved everybody. I gave everybody hell. I was on, you know, each thing. I was very content.
So you were the least favorite of the others.
That's probably true. I think
So neither one of you had any least
I think
favorite.
Barbara was quoted in the Times or something like that saying, oh my God, she's very cantankerous or something, you know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I was always up to stuff, you know. I was putting frogs in people's rooms, and, you know, I was conniving. I always wanted to stir, so, stir the pot is what we say. But did I ever tell you about how I got the role for the Monroes?
No.
No? Okay.
That was my next question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Would you ask me that question?
No, you can go.
So my mother I had just finished Once a Thief with Anne Margaret, Aileen DeLong, and Jack Palance, and Van Heflin, and a lot of other great, great actors. And I guess the big guy from 20th Century Fox saw me in that movie, and he called my mother and asked for an appointment, to come in. He just wanted to assess me, he was looking at a new project. He didn't tell her what it was. And so we got down there, we walked into this main office, and then his office was just adjacent to that. And so here my mom and I come, and he walks out to greet my mom, and I run right past him into his office. I wasn't staying to do the, meet and greet. I was going in there, and I had something that I was going to do. So I ran around to his big, huge desk, and I jumped up on his chair, and I took my feet, and I threw him up, and crisscrossed him on his desk on top. Then I got on his phone and was talking away as if I was creating deals all over the place. And he's standing there as they were walking, he's like, oh, he's looking at my mom, looking at me, and I'm just talking away, and I'm leaning back. And he goes, well, if she's that bold, he said in other terms, but if she's that bold to do something like that, she's perfect for the role of Amy Monroe in the Monroes. Your child just landed that shot. That's all. That's how I became a Monroe, because I was an actual Monroe. That's what Monroes do. So it just kind of trickled down, being blessed from there on, being able. I think that every great actor, probably almost in the entire Western world, was on my TV series in at least one segment or more. I mean, Buck Taylor, Ed Faulkner. I mean, how great is that? I've got two of the greatest actors that I'm sitting with out there. I'm like, right now, because it's such a privilege and an honor to know them both and to know that they were on my show. And then a lot of other great actors was on my show as well, that I've been, in my past, able to go and see and sign autographs with. So I am truly one of Lord's lucky, blessed people. And with all of you that I love so very much. Amen to that. And don't mind me, I'm a proud person who cries and shows her emotion, and I'll own up to it.
Kim, I didn't know until we got here and heard you and Darby talking that you actually worked with him recently. What was that about?
We did a documentary on the Donner Party, and it was pretty wild. We had a great time doing that. Ironically, it was about a year and a half ago. No, it must have been 2 years ago. And the irony, California was having such a drought at that time, they shot in Colorado. So they used the Rocky Mountains kind of place of the Eastern Sierras for the Donner Pass. And it was pretty brutal out there, but we had a great time doing it. That was my first, I knew who Darby was, but I had never met him in person, and we just got on great and had a great time. Of course, all he had to do was die. I had to schlep through the snow and start. It was fun.
They didn't have the snow 2 years ago?
2 years ago, now
They had 500 inches of
there's
snow this
tons
year.
and lucky for California because it's been in such a drought. But in that show was my first, a lot of these shows that you're doing, that you do sometimes have very tight budgets or low budgets. And what we would have done probably, or not the technology that we have now, and what we probably would have done 5 or maybe even 8 years ago would have been with helicopters and camera, if they had the expense. camera planes, the cameras on the planes or the helicopters. They do now with drones. And so we had all these fabulous drone shots, if anybody has seen it. They really look like multi-million-dollar shots. And it was incredible to work with a drone. They're odd because they make so much noise that my kids, Darby's and my children, had to really be worked with prior to say, don't look at the noise because it's this that comes down, and so you want to go, oh, what's that? So the children had to really be up on it to not pay attention to these drones. And the oxen, because we used a lot of oxen because they schlepped across the salt fields with the oxen, and you had to get them used to a drone. You don't want your livestock to overreact. So it was very interesting, and I got, I'm probably like everybody else so interested in working with the camera and seeing how the camera worked and how the camera was hooked onto this drone and flying over, and it just went back. It was incredible because there's this one scene where I've just said goodbye to my children. My children survived. The Donner children survived. But the parents, myself, and Darby, well, wasn't really Darby, Tamsin Donner and George Donner, and our brother did not survive, but I was the last one left alive in the actual Donner party. So they have this last shot with the drone coming kind of in and peeling away. And I'm schlepping through the snow, which was quite deep in Leadville. And it's a tremendous, powerful shot of just being left alone in that kind of environment, in the mountains with all that snow, and you're just there. And it was a good learning experience as well. When you think that in California, because the Donner Party left Missouri, and they had quite a good life in Missouri. George and Tamsin Donner were very well respected. They were very affluent, and they left that comfort to start a new life, as many people did, because I don't think California was even California then. I think it was part of Mexico in 1846. I'd have to study up more on that. But when you think that these people left such a wonderful, safe environment to come all the way across the country like that, and got sidetracked by Lansford Hastings, who had given direction to how to get to the West Coast, but had never really been on that trail. And there was a big meeting within the whole party of whether to follow this, and they all wanted to take this shortcut, which actually was the demise of the whole Donner Party. It was pretty scary. But you think of going across, I mean, I had under my clothes, I had, long underwear and wool socks, and you think these people went across with nothing.
Wow.
I mean, it's astounding to see how anybody even made it. And that, of course, paved the way for a lot of the East Coast or Midwest to get to the West Coast and not the West Coast. But we kept walking around thinking, how could these people do it? And they were stuck there for a year.
How about your backing up? When you went, did you go after the part of Knots Landing, or did they come to you? Did you? How did that come about? I
was doing a series with Joe Namath called God. Him too?
Gee, Christmas!
Joe.
Oh my God, sexy!
We did a series called Waverly Wonders. And I was the only girl on a boys' basketball team, and ironically, the only player who could play. And I did love basketball. It was one of my things in school as well. And Joe was the coach to that. It was in, I think we were in high school, or early high school. He was the coach, and I was the player, or the player. And we had a great time on that series. Joe and I remember we made the front cover of the New York Times, which was really fun. But from that series, we did 26 episodes. That's when they were doing 26 episodes. So we did a full season of that show. And it was a Lorimar show. And then they had me in for the part of Ginger on Knots Landing. And of course, it was a much older character, so another good acting part to raise up. But I went in and auditioned like with everybody else. And as you start auditioning the process, sometimes it can be a short process, sometimes it can be a long process. And they want you to come back and meet with the network, or meet with the producers, or this producer, or that director, or whomever. And I remember Jim Houghton and I were at Warner Brothers studio, and I said, I really want to go back in and talk to them about this part. And he said, well, yeah, you should do that, Kim. Okay, I will. So I went back in and talked with David Jacobson and Michael. What's Michael's last name? Well, I'll think of it in a minute. But they said that me coming back in and talking to them and saying how much I wanted to do this part, but I think I'd like to do this again and work with it, that they think that's why they gave me the part. But I don't think it was a done deal per se. I just didn't put my feet up on the desk and I made it.
There's just times you gotta just
Exactly.
do it.
The same thing with a little bit different tack.
Okay, let's see, is there anybody in the audience have questions for either one of the ladies?
Tammy,
Yes, ma'am.
when you were on the Monroes, how old were you when you started over there on the Monroes? And you were young, a child actor. How old
Yeah, I
were
was about 5.5. I was at the end of 5s, then 6, and then I finished at just 7.
you? How long was it on? How many
26 episodes, but I was there for all summer and then all through the winter as well. But I know I was very young, maybe I was 6, but I know I was there for 6 and 7 because I was much older at that time, and that's when they wanted me for, well, I did an episode for Gunsmoke with Buck.
My favorite show.
Yeah, he validated that yesterday. I have no validation for it, so I had him validate it for me yesterday. He says, oh yes, Tammy, I remember you taking off and coming and going. So that was Baker's Dozen. And then that's when they wanted me for Hang 'em High, and I was 7.5 for that, I think, with Clint Eastwood.
Michael Filerman.
Hey, she got it.
It's not totally gone.
Yeah.
Kim, do you still have your 47 Gibson guitar, and do you play it and sing?
I do. It's a 46, actually. I do.
46 guitars?
No, it's 46.
Oh.
The J45. I do still have that guitar, and I do play it,
Wow.
probably not as often as it should be played for sure. But everyone who plays that guitar wants it. But I don't give it up. And people have offered to buy it. It's a collector's item. Not even with its story.
Wow.
It's just a great musical instrument.
Here's just a wonderful idea if you want to take that on. It comes from a friend of mine. He knew a lot of people in the business. So he took one of his rooms, and he's got a lot of his guitars. He had murals of those people put up on the wall.
That's a good
And then he
idea.
hung their guitars if they were playing. So if they had a band, the main person would be there, and then little photos of the band around that, and then he would hang the guitars if that main person was actually playing it. So it's a real kind of a neat thing going on.
That's nice. That is good.
It's a conversation piece, it shows who it actually belonged to.
I like to keep people guessing. That guitar belongs to me. And then I just throw it out as an aside and everyone goes, what?
Well, I know you're recording or doing some
Yes,
recording. What do you?
I'm recording now. I have a CD that I brought with me of, it's 4 songs that I wrote. It's a good band. It's Bruce Hornsby's band. They're really good musicians. But I'm working with a guy now, Butch Hawes, out of Colorado, and we're putting together a CD or an album now. My mom's going to sing with me on it.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, it's really great. Don Edwards, I don't know if you guys know Don Edwards. He's fantastic. And he came and did a fundraiser for Clint Clymer and myself, and we call it Clint Clymer and Friends. Do a fundraiser every year for, it's in our community to uplift someone in our community that's struggling in one form or another. And this last one was our 3rd fundraiser. We raise over $20,000. It's really exciting for the people that we work with. And Don Edwards did last year's. He was our guest performer, and he was fantastic. And so he and I are going to do a duet on my CD.
Awesome.
Thank you. It was really fun. We like to work to uplift our community. I don't know if you know, about 3 years ago in my area of Colorado, suffered a tremendous flood, and it wiped out quite a few people, a lot of homes. And one was our really good friend, Jerry Schaefer, who is a musician. And we're always wanting to help a vet or someone in our community, but Jerry Schaefer he's an amazing musician. He's the Thirsty Cowboys. He's got some CDs out as well. And he's this guy who gives endlessly all the time. And Clint and I were sitting around thinking, who is going to be who are we going to uplift this year? And we both looked at each other and said, Jerry Schaefer! I mean, why are we not doing for Jerry Schaefer and his family? He owned or still owns a place in Drake, a campground that's been in his family for so many years. And that campground and his home and his mother's home was just completely wiped out in the flood. So we've been able to support them or help them, and this year they got their own bed and a lot of things that, you take for granted so much of our lives, and then this drops me to tears, and then there are people out there, you don't know what their struggle is. It could be you, it could be me, and we all put on whatever it is we need to put on to get through our life. And underneath, you can be dying. And it was a great honor for us. And John, my husband, is so helpful with supporting me through these things that I love to do. And I've never really had a net to work with. And having my husband is a wonderful feeling to have. So I don't work without a net.
Are there any other questions anybody got?
Tammy,
Yes, ma'am.
you're also a singer, it says here in your bio. And you sing with
It
the
says right
band.
here. You're saying, girl.
And you sing with the band California Express.
That's right.
You do voiceover recordings and commercials. Have we seen any of your famous commercials?
The commercials that I did was Hammond, Oregon, Franco-American. I am driving a cute little red Corvette. That's where I'm kind of driving, and I've got these grandma's cookies and everything, and Franco-American as well. The Corvette was actually attached to the Grandma's Cookies, and then the Franco-American, I'm with a couple of other actors as well, where we're eating the Franco-American, it was tasting so good. I did a lot of them, I can't remember every single one of them. A couple of Baskin Robbins. Oscar Mayer. Oh, yes, I did. Does everybody remember The Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Do you remember the Lollipop Kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry Marin was one of them. He was actually Oscar, as in Oscar Mayer. And so I was the very first little girl that was the co-pilot of the Wienermobile. And as it relates to your other question, yes, I used to sing with the California Express, and that was the famous Tex Williams. Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette.
But you don't sing with them now.
I don't. I still know them. One of them just recently passed, Dennis. But the California Express was actually his side band, not his actual band that he toured with and appeared in big places. The California Express was made up of his nephews and son-in-law. And then we had three other members. Christopher Nielsen, he came out of Aerosmith, I think. Not sure. Something like that. Smith or something.
Or Sticks.
Yeah. We had Jeffrey Steele, who is a #1 singer-songwriter in Nashville, Tennessee right now, and has been. And I had Marty Rifkin, who is the #1 music producer ever that lives in Santa Monica, that has basically produced everybody you could possibly think of in the business. And his best friend's Bruce Springsteen. So whenever Bruce Springsteen comes into town, Marty's always telling me, yeah, he comes and washes all of his clothes. He brings all of his bags of clothes and washes it in my washing machine. But they always go to breakfast at the same place. Marty lives very close in proximity to his home versus his studio. So it's just like a block away or something. And him and Bruce always go to this one little breakfast place and have that. But I was happy because Russ now he calls himself Russ Paul, and Dennis Orr was Tex's nephews, and Sam Aiello was Tex's. Tex had one daughter, Sandy, and she was married to Sammy. So Sam was my drummer, Russ was my lead guitarist, Dennis was my bass, Marty was my pedal steel. Well, Marty knows about 15 instruments, at least 15 or 20 minimum. And then we had Jeffrey Steele, and then we had Christopher Nielsen. So we had an absolute blast. Many years I traveled with them, and we bunked different places. We sang in Big Bear, we sang all over the place actually. And then when I broke up with them, I kind of toured by myself and went to Nashville and sang there, and went to Texas and Gillies and I sang there.
You don't sing today, though. You give that up?
She was singing last night, sister. You missed that.
You gonna sing
I'm
tonight?
gonna sing tonight.
Are you gonna
But I
sing?
have to tell you, my throat's a little, but I was doing okay. I did a little.
I'm gonna tell you about that.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I wouldn't be worrying about that. You sounded fabulous last night. You're welcome. Just a good sister. No, I was gonna say that. I would let that go. I was gonna say that first thing this morning when I saw, I'd let that go.
Yeah,
Because
but
your
my
voice
voice,
sounds
when
great.
my voice is at 100%, you'd be surprised.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna hook up with Ken Tamplin, because he's one of the best vocalist teachers in the world. And I'm gonna start really working on my voice and getting back out there. A lot of people have asked me to go back into the recording studios and record another CD. I have one
Yes.
record out there. It was, let's see, it's As Sure As I'm Living, written by Patrick Summerson, which is the best friend of Willie Nelson's nephew. And then Reflecting in the Memories of Your Lives, which was written by Tiny Markle. He was actually my manager back then. Unfortunately, they only printed 250 45 records. So 250 lucky people out there have an autographed copy of that record. That's about it. But it was mismanaged, so it was never actually released to the common market, unfortunately. But Those copies are out there, and both of those songs are on my website. So you're able to go to my website and click on it and actually hear those recordings. So.
Has anybody ever tried to hire you for your laughter? The way you
No, I need somebody to hire me. I need a bigger job.
laugh, a very joyful laugh.
Thank you so much. Thank
They should
you.
hire you for that laugh.
Yeah, I remember in my 20s, they came out with that little doll that had the hair all up like this. And whenever you shook it or like, it would go, you know. So everybody that I knew always used to say, that was you, wasn't it? You went into the recording studio, that's you. And I'm gonna go get that doll right now because everywhere I go, I wanna hear that because it sounds like you.
All right, let's take one more question, then we need to get out because they want to get back on schedule here.
George, Donner is right back here.
Darby hit everybody!
We were talking about you earlier.
Yes.
I heard. I heard what you were talking about.
It's all good.
What happens on the Salt Flats stays.
All right, is there another question? Or should we just, okay.
I would just like, it says also in your bio, how in the world did you become a roller derby queen? That's so opposite of.
Okay, all
Not
right.
really.
I was 16 when my sister used to work at a country and western bar called Dodge Saloon, and it was in the city of Norwalk, California. There was a cross-dresser entertainer known as Troy Walker, who is still to this day alive. And he dressed in girls' clothes, but he was a, I don't know, third-degree black belt and had very long nails and was able to actually kill somebody if he wanted to. I don't know, go figure. But anyways, he was a huge part, played a huge part in my life. He was the best entertainer I'd ever seen. I mean, he sang fantastic. He put on these elaborate shows at Dodge Saloon. And so his best friends were John Hall, the famous John Hall, and Rafi Valadares of the LA T-Birds. And Troy took me under his wing and was always taking me places. I went to his house. He had this big, huge red, round bed and this enormous house on the mountain and everything. And I just idolized Troy. I didn't care about this. I do not judge people because it's not my part to judge. That's only him. I loved him. He was everything. He taught me a lot about the entertainment business, about how to carry yourself up on stage and how to deliver a song and what to feel. Of course, I'd already been into the music business because I would come home from school when I was growing up and I would sit in front of the stereo system and I would practice for hours on Barbara Streisand. I would listen to her albums for hours and hours and hours, trying to figure out what is this lady thinking when she's saying these words, when she's delivering this song. How is she conveying it? Then I moved on to Diana Ross because I wanted a little bit of a soul, and she was the biggest star I knew, and she had the most beautiful voice I'd ever heard. Then I moved on to Patsy, of course, and then Barbara Mandrell kind of finished up the series, basically, when I was teaching myself how to sing. So Troy, he wanted to introduce me to John Hall and Ralphie. So he actually said, Tammy, we're going roller skating, coming with me. So I was there, my sister Cheryl was there, Troy was there, and his friend was there, and we're all skating around, you know, just kind of regular. And I'd been skating a little bit. I mean, wasn't very good, but I knew how to keep myself up off the ground. And then, so John's like, well, she's got a really cute look. I was only 90 pounds. If anything, I was a size 0, if I can get that. And I was very short. I'm a little taller now. Not much, but a little. When you get this age, you want to build up your height a little. But so he introduced me to John Hall and Rafi Valadares, and John says, Tim, how would you like to go up there on that big track? And I said, you're kidding, right? You want me to skate like this, and then like this, and like this, and like that? And he says, yes, I do. I said, I'll do it. So he and Ralphie both picked me up and they put me on the bank track, and I started skating around. And he says, okay, now lean into it, Tammy. That's how you learn how to go up, over, and you start crossing your legs to come down off of it, to gain your speed, to pass your opponents on the opposite team. Then you come up here. And then he wanted me to start learning how to whip. That's where you take your teammate and the one with the helmet, which is known as a jammer, and you grab them on the bank area and you whip them around. Because if you're strong enough, which I was, I mean, I've been raised with 14 horses, so we used to clean all the stalls and stuff, and you just build up your muscles at that point in time. So I started whipping, and they found out that I was learning very fast. And I remember Georgia Haas, she was the manager for the Detroit Devils, the Bay Bombers, and things like, she was the bad guy, basically. John Hall and Ralphie were the good guys because they were the, LA T-Birds, basically. So John says, you're hired. Georgia kept bidding on me, saying, I want her on my team. And they're all saying, no, she's going to be ours. So Ralphie proceeded to start really training me, where he lined people up laying down on the floor, on the flat part of the bank track. And then you have to literally come from the bank part, go up to them, jump all the way over them, and you're going to pray that you miss all of them, and then you land on your butt. They're praying. They're praying too. Then you land on your butt, and you have to literally get right up so that you can go up the bank track and pass your opponents again. So they trained me, and the next thing I knew, Judy Norton-Taylor, does that bring a memory to somebody? Who is she? Walton, am I right? Anyway, she was doing a show that her part had to do roller skating, so they assigned me to train Judy Norton-Taylor at that time, back when I was in my 20s, basically, to train her on how to whip and do the jamming part and stuff like that. So I was blessed to know her in my lifetime as well, and that's how I became a Detroit Devil, because John casted me on the Detroit Devils. Georgia basically won out. And that's how I became the Detroit Devil. I loved it. It was a blast. I mean, I got hurt. I'm not going to say I didn't. I did. And I was still holding out down a regular job at Northrop Corporation. I am a graphite fabrication senior mechanic. I can build an aircraft from scratch to fly.
Ladies, we want to thank you for coming to Winston-Salem to be with us, and we appreciate it all. Let's give them a nice hand.